Lumada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lumada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lumada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lumada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in today. Glad we're here together. I hope that you are having a wonderful start to, middle of the week now. I guess because I had the day off, I'm thinking start to the week, but I hope that you're having a great week. Happy Wednesday to you and your loved ones. And of course, we're back with a good book, a wonderful book, one that is coming to Story Time once more. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm glad you're here. And yesterday I did say that we would be reading Loving, but Loving is actually on Thursday. I'm getting my days mixed up. Today we're actually reading My Mother's Wildest Dreams. Yes, this one from John Light Jr. and Monica MIKAI. A good one, a beautiful one, a sweet one to start off our Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Please, as always, let me know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. I am excited for this day, and I hope that you are too for yours. Thank you for being here. Glad you're here with us and you could join us today. Thank you. And please remember that we have an event coming up. Go ahead and get your tickets for this event. It is coming up. It'll be an online event as well as an in-person event. Is happening in Sacramento at the California Museum in Sacramento. And I'm so excited to be there hosting this event, but also getting to read stories. I love it. So please, if you can join us, get in there and join in, and we can have fun together, even if it's just for a little bit. So I hope to see you there. And the exhibit itself is exquisite. It is definitely something that must be seen. Thank you so much for joining in. The Green Book, Navigation to Freedom. Join us on Saturday, February 26th in Sacramento. If you're around the area, see you in person. But if not, please do join us online. Feel free. Thank you so much for joining in today. Glad you're here. And of course, the author today, Mr. John Light Jr., can be found at Mr. John Light Jr. They lived happily ever after, and you can hire him for stories and many other things. He's also a genealogist, something that you might want to know, and he does amazing work with that. Thank you for joining in. I'm excited for today's book, of course, My Mother's Wildest Dreams. This one, John Light Jr. and Monica MIKAI, and it is published by They Lived Happily Ever After. Thank you so much for being here. Please let us know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. Excited for today. And if you remember too, John Light Jr. brought us the adventures of Pip, Joshua and Pip. And that's the same author, and he's back again with this wonderful book indeed. Thank you for being here. Let us see who is with us this morning. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in. Amanda, how are you today out in Seattle? And saying good morning, Storytime friends, from cloudy and sunny Seattle. Oh my goodness, yes, it is a mix of everything, isn't it? The snow has melted, but it's still cold. Oh my goodness. Marlon and Nate are sleeping. Oh, I'll try to be a little quieter. Good morning to you. Good morning, Marlon and Nate. Thank you so much. And baby Bia, how are you doing, sweetheart? Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Yes, this one is indeed one to be snuggled up for. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Please do keep warm. I was just looking at the weather actually before coming on, and it is colder right now here than it is on the East Coast. I was just laughing at that. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. It is cold out here in Oakland too. Freezing warning, freeze warnings in effect in some places. Please do stay warm. Make sure that you leave with your layers, and of course make sure that you have those emergency kits in your car. Emergency kits that you can carry in your backpack, little things that you might need. So just check, make sure everything is updated, your batteries have been updated, and everything else that needs changing in there is changed and updated. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. Good morning one more time. Baby Bia, Amanda, and of course Nate and Marlon, good morning to you too. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Glad you're here with us. Good morning to you, Sarah and Nathan. Thank you for being here in cold and bright Illinois. Thank you so much for joining in. And Amanda West, thank you so much for being here on Storytime as well. Glad you're here with me and excited for all the events that are coming up this weekend. Hopefully you can all join us, but of course just happy to be here on Storytime with you. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning to you, Betty. How are you doing today? And of course, Rikia, how are you right here in Oakland? Thank you so much for joining in. Happy Wednesday, and I hope that you are well indeed. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. Absolutely loving it. Thank you to you. Good morning, Susan. How are you doing? Good to see you here on Storytime. Hope everything is going well. Good morning, coffee in Houston today. Oh my goodness, I love Houston. Not the weather, mate, but I do love the space. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope you have a lovely time out in Houston. Well, thank you for joining us here on Storytime. Always appreciate you, Susan. Oh yes, and I will be in touch for sure. Thank you so much for joining in today. Glad you're here. Oh, good morning to you, Kennedy. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in from Istanbul. And you're saying good evening from Black Sea in Turkey. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Always a pleasure to have you here. Kennedy Kapolyo Kampamba, how was your chikanda the other day? I hope you got to enjoy it. Thank you so much for joining in and absolutely love it. Today we do have My Mother's Wildest Dreams. And this one coming to you from John Light Jr. and illustrations by MIKAI. Beautiful illustrations indeed. And this one is published by the Lived Happily Ever After Press. Thank you for being here. Get comfortable, get cozy, get ready. We are about to enjoy story time, whether you're having your coffee like Susan, or indeed snuggled up like Amanda and baby Bia, or indeed just staying warm in a sunny but cloudy and cold place in like Illinois. Sarah and Nathan right now, please welcome, and I hope you enjoy this wonderful story that we have together today. Join me on the other side of this message as we will get started with our story. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, this is Timothy Goodspeed of the Soapbox Salute. I'm the one who wrote Storytime's theme song. If you'd like to hear more of my protest folk music, you can check out the links below on Instagram or at my website. You are watching Storytime with Mr. Lamada.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning to you. Please do check out Tim's folk music. It is beautiful protest folk music. I love what he does. And of course, love the Storytime theme song. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you. Get comfortable. Here we go. My Mother's Wildest Dreams. And I'll just read the back to what John Light says here. It says, many ancestors were responsible for bringing us into the world. My Mother's Wildest Dreams honors the mothers responsible for bringing Mr. John, and of course, all of you out there too, bringing Mr. John here. The beautifully rich illustrations and poetic prose highlight the hopes and dreams and aspirations every mother has for their children. In life, the seasons and scenery may change, but a mother's love never fades. Oh, beautiful indeed. I just thought we should share that as well. Here we go with our story today, My Mother's Wildest Dreams. And Mr. John says, you're a dream come true, for sure. Yes, all of you out there. My Mother's Wildest Dreams. Written by John Light Jr., illustrations by MIKAI. I am my mother's wildest dreams. Oh, look at all those family photos. I love it. I am the wish Grandma Hannah made as she labored to make her home safe and warm in the old Dominion. I am the wish Grandma Hannah made as she labored to make her home safe and warm in the old Dominion. I am Mama Mammy's desire for her children to always find their way back to each other, no matter how long they have been apart. Oh, yeah. I am Mama Mammy's desire for her children to always find their way back to each other, no matter how long they have been apart. I am the hope wooer held that one day her children would pull down pillars of hate. Oh, for sure. I am the hope wooer held that one day her children would pull down pillars of hate. Oh, yes. I am Mama Lelia's belief that God would always bring the rain for the land and provide for the family. Oh, so true. I am Mama Lelia's belief that God would always bring the rain for the land and provide for the family. I am the anticipation that filled Grandma Ozzy's heart when family visited. She always made sure good food was on the table. I am the anticipation that filled Grandma Ozzy's heart when family visited. She always made sure good food was on the table. I am the confidence Grandma Ruth possessed in knowing trouble does not always last. I am the confidence Grandma Ruth possessed in knowing trouble does not last always. I am Grancy's hope that a life of love and grace will forever follow her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I am my Grancy's hope that a life of love and grace will forever follow her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I am the answer to many nights of prayer for the strength and ability to bring forth a child. I am the answer to many nights of prayer for the strength and ability to bring forth a child. Oh. I am my mama's wildest dream. Oh, the end. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Glad you were here for this one. A beautiful one indeed from John Light Jr. I absolutely love it. And this one is I Am My Mother's Wildest Dreams. And this one is written John Light Jr. and of course Monica MIKAI. Thank you so much for being here on Storytime. I am glad that we're here together to read and enjoy this one. So many things to relate to, so many great things. You are indeed your mother's greatest dreams, your mother's wildest dreams, your family's wildest dreams. Just believe that, know that you are loved. Yes, indeed. And so many things that I can relate to there. So thinking of all the powerful women, all the amazing women that have shaped my life into who I am today. I hope that I make you proud. Thank you so much. And you know what? Everybody out there, I want you to take a minute to just think of all those powerful people, all those powerful women in particular that have helped shape your life. I thank you, everybody. And of course, for me, Grandma Salia, appreciate you, love you to bits, love the moments we spent singing and joking and laughing together, just the two of us. Those were great times indeed. And of course, everybody else, Auntie Naomi, yes, indeed, my mom Daisy, thank you for everything. And of course, Auntie Lucy, thank you so much. Appreciate all the love that has been shown. My sisters Sally and Chippo, love you to bits. Always looking forward to our phone calls, like it says in here, that I hope that the love brings you back, yes, together every time. No matter how far apart we may be, our hearts remain connected. And I hope that yours too remain connected to those powerful people, those amazing human beings in your life that have dreamed of you and brought you forth. So thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I hope that this reflection for you as well is one that grounds you today and sets you off on a good day. And of course, if you're like Kennedy, ending your day out in Turkey, hopefully it sets you off to bed with sweet thoughts and indeed sweet dreams as well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Powerful book. Thank you, Mr. John Light Jr. And please do remember too that you can find John Light Jr. at Mr. John. They lived happily ever after on Instagram, and of course you can find him at his website as well. And you can hire him for different events, whether it's come and read a story or indeed participate in genealogy. He is amazing at that. So please find Mr. John, and a big thank you to him, of course, right now in Savannah, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. And also remember too that we have this event coming up on Saturday, and I will be hosting that event. Please join in, of course, in conjunction with the California Museum in Sacramento. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope that I'll see you too on Saturday, whether online or in person. It'll be so good to see you out there if you can make it. But if not, please do join in online. And of course, if not, just find the exhibition and get to enjoy it as well. Thank you for being here on Storytime today. Definitely lots to think about from that wonderful book indeed. Thank you. I love it. Amanda and baby Bia, thank you. Say, I love this book so much. It is a beautiful one indeed. Absolutely one that gets you thinking. So many things to think about, so many things to think of. Oh, it takes a village to raise one. And of course, so many people participate in that. And hopefully we all feel the love, whether it's little ones joining in today or indeed the adults joining in today. I hope that you have a family that loves you. You have people that love you around you, and indeed just want you to thrive and achieve. And of course, you are their wildest dream. Thank you so much for joining in. And yesterday, I was just talking to my students as well. Sometimes we forget to tell people we love them. Please do tell people you love them. Please do tell people you appreciate them. No use telling them when they're gone. Say it now. Say it now. Say it to them now. Appreciate them now, because they want to hear it, and it's better when they hear it. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I hope that you have a wonderful day, a day of saying I love yous to people, and a day indeed of reflecting on all the amazing people in our lives that make that difference, and especially those amazing women out there. To all you mothers joining us today, all you women that are out there doing your part in this world, thank you. Absolutely appreciate you. I love it. And of course, a big congratulations as well to the U.S. women's soccer team on the settlement of the case that has been going on, of course, indeed, where there's been complaints, and we've seen it where the women's team has not been paid equal pay. No. So I hope that this is a start of great things. And like Megan Rapinoe said, it is right now, yes, it is a celebration, but it is a bigger celebration for the future. For all you little ones, little girls that are coming up too, I hope that when they're coming in, these are not issues that we'll be dealing with. We hope that Ikope will just be a given. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. So many things to be happy about in this world too. I know sometimes so many things can put us down, but we know that there's so much greatness, so much goodness that is also happening out there. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I appreciate each and every one of you. And being here on Storytime always just gives me a lift going into this world with a bounce, going into this Wednesday with a bounce. So a big thank you to you, everybody that is joining in today. I absolutely appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hugs and love. Yes, Kennedy Kapolyo Kampamba, you say you motivate me to love reading. Well, I love reading, and I hope, I hope that we can all just pick up books and travel the world with these amazing books. Send us your recommendations, Kennedy. We would love to share them here on Storytime. If you have any, we will be definitely looking into those. And of course, just maybe even reading that others out there may want to read, not just here on Storytime, but in their day-to-day lives. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I actually just got a new book that I'm excited about reading, and this one is, of course, the Angela Davis book, and it just happened to be sitting there, but just got this one yesterday. More reading to do. Amazing woman indeed. And of course, this one also, looking forward to reading this one on my end, The Black Panther Party. It is a great, this one is a graphic novel style, so I'm excited for it. Can't wait to read that one. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Reading opens up our minds indeed, and of course it helps us think, be critical thinkers, and indeed participate in this world in many great ways that benefit our communities as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Love everybody that is here today. I hope that you have a wonderful time. Thank you for joining in Storytime. Remember that February is Black History Month, so we're still celebrating, and we'll continue celebrating every day here on Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in, and to all the allies, I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you for joining in today. Have a wonderful Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow, this time for real, when we're back with Loving versus Virginia. And I'm looking forward to this one. We'll be reading excerpts of it because it is a young adult series, and it is a longish book, so we will definitely only be reading parts of it, but I've selected some parts that I think you will all love, and hopefully you can find this book at your local library. Thank you so much for joining in today, everybody that was here. Susan, thank you for joining us. Amanda, of course, and baby Bia, love you to bits. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. Thank you for being here. Sarah and Nathan, thank you for the smiles. Absolutely love it. I hope that you stay warm out there in Illinois, but I'm glad that it is bright. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. Have a lovely day. Amanda West, to you too. Rikia, see you very soon, my dear. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. And of course, Betty Deshay, thank you for being here on Storytime. Oh, Susan, thank you so much. Enjoy your time out in Houston. Thank you for joining us on Storytime. Hope you are well. Thank you for being here. Absolutely love it. And of course, Kennedy Kapolyo Kampamba, thank you for joining us. You didn't tell me about your chikanda. I won't get some, I know, but please have a wonderful evening out in Turkey. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Amanda, good to know that you love this book. Mr. John will appreciate that. I'll definitely be passing on the message. Thank you so much for joining in today. Absolutely love it. If we can motivate one person to read today, then our job is done. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love it. Susan, enjoy your time out there. Thank you so much as always. Appreciate you so much. And of course, on your new journey in life, wishing you well. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, rooting for you, supporting you all the way. Thank you so much for joining in. Absolutely appreciate it. Oh, thank you so much, Pia, Amanda. Talk to you very soon. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And of course, greetings as well to the Sleeping Beauties, Nate and Marlene. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Have a wonderful day. Please do join us tomorrow for this amazing book, Loving versus Virginia. Join in tomorrow and let us be inspired. Thank you for joining in Storytime. Much love from me. Bye-bye.
Storytime with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start on the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing. Ooh, oh. He brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing.